Aston Villa. First, the Aston Villa team, unchanged from the side that lost at Bury last week. David Gibson, a really experienced substitute, knows what Wembley is all about. Andy Lockhead, the number 9, who came here with Leicester and lost. Tremendously good seasons with Burnley. Took a time, in fact, to settle down at Villa, and now is really in good scoring form for them. Meanwhile, Tottenham, with so much First Division experience, one of the sweetest moving sides in the First Division at the moment, but no Mike England at 5. His ankle injury won't permit him to play. Peter Collins, as we say, was there at number 5 for them. And their skipper, of course, Alan Mallory, the man who skippered England recently in Malta. Pat Partridge on the left, the linesman. Jim Finney, the centre, the referee, and Mr. Morgan of Rotherham. So Aston Villa get the 1971 Football League Cup final underway in their claret shirts with the blue sleeves. Defending the goal now to our left. Here's Kinnear, allowing that to go into touch for a throw to Tottenham Hotspur. Spurs, who've appeared in 5 FA Cup finals and won the lot. Villa, who've appeared in 9 rather, and won 7 of them. So 2 sides with tremendous cup fighting traditions here at Wembley this afternoon. Here's Lockhead. And Hamilton looking to get in behind Knowles, but Knowles booting that one to the safety of the crowd. Always tense moments, and tension at Wembley can kill a side. It's the side that can settle down quickest and play good, relaxed football. McMahon, a nice little flick there for Anderson. Spurs under pressure right away, but a goal kick. Well, certainly a warning there for Tottenham in the opening minute of this game, with Pat McMahon playing a beautiful little ball here for the man Willie Anderson. And Pat Jennings, who had a sore neck after a collision at Newcastle last week, past fit during the week. 27 caps for Northern Ireland, a lot of experience. Gilzine quick to pounce on that loose one for Tottenham Hotspur, going past. Now Chivers, can he get a shot in? Peters, can he get a shot in? Peters, in fact, trying one of those little surgeon's knife shots that you might call them, with just a little gap in that goal, and he looked to find, as he did once here so memorably against Scotland for England. But that time it didn't come off. McMahon stopped by Knowles. Godfrey, McMahon. Hamilton. Good-looking cross there by Hamilton. Lockhead hoping to get on the end of it. Anderson. Kinnear coming towards him, giving him no room, no time. Aitken putting that one across, and Lockhead's looking for it with his head. My goodness, that was nearly there. Nodded away, in fact, by Knowles. And Spurs in defence were in a terrible tangle there for a moment. Hamilton going out to take the corner. Well, that's the closest we've come to a goal. It'll give Villa all sorts of encouragement. Knowles getting that one away. Chivers leaving it for his skipper Mallory. Neighbour with a chance ahead of him to make some room. Knowles going down the left for it. And Bradley putting it into touch for another throw to Tottenham. Perryman. And Peters trying to hope to get on the end of this one. Chivers is there too, and this time nodded away by Charlie Aitken. Charlie Aitken, longest serving player at the Villa, 12 years he's been there, under 5 managers, never asked for a transfer. That's my sort of player. Neighbour with the corner. Now can Chivers turn that in? He can indeed, but it came off Tyler. Neighbour again, trying a little too much, and Charlie Aitken again there for the Villa. Hamilton to McMahon. Peters cutting that one out. Not a very good pass by McMahon. Gives Spurs possession with Gilzean. Most arrogant touch there by Alan Gilzean, and a shot that's off the target. And again, Villa make the running in this game. McMahon taking it up to Hamilton. Two big, strong young strikers for them. Hamilton, a good run by him across that Spurs goal. Plucked like a cherry off a tree from Hamilton. Neighbour to Perryman. Youngest player on the field, but there's so much authority about him, and he finds his skipper Mallory now. A good little cross by Mallory. Peters going in. Neighbours there too. And so too is Aitken for Aston Villa. Aitken once more. Perhaps a little lucky there to find Hamilton. And a too-strong challenge there. A wild challenge by Perryman. Jim Finney missing absolutely nothing. So half an hour gone, no score. And Keith Bradley with the kick for Aston Villa. Hamilton trying to turn it in for Godfrey. Play on, says the referee. That was no foul by Peters. I don't think there'll be many Villa supporters who would agree with him. Stevie Perryman. Owen Chivers for once been allowed a yard or two by Turnbull. And Chivers making good use of it too. Oh, tried a little one too with Gilzean, which didn't come off. Now Perryman once more. Again the little chip to look for Chivers. A little turn by Chivers for Kinnear of all people. And again that Villa defence looking very cool deep in their own penalty area. It's with Tyler. To Bruce Rioch. Good pass there by Rioch to find Hamilton. Oh, that fell off Godfrey, but it's Turnbull. Godfrey again. Doing well, Brian Godfrey. There's a cross with Lockhead on the other end of it. Lockhead getting up well. And Kinnear went charging into him along with Peter Collins. The threat was there. Lockhead at the far post is always a danger signal. Can you notice right up there in that Spurs penalty area, the number 3. And it's going to be Willie Anderson with a corner for Aston Villa. Hard and low. My goodness, that nearly got through. Beale, in fact, getting ahead to it. Anderson again. Teasing and taunting, and this time it's Mullery's head, and again not very far away. Now it's Collins' head. Again not very far away. Pat McMahon. Villa looking very dangerous indeed. And Knowles forced to give away the corner. Hamilton with it. Another low and a hard one. Knowles, this one nodding it clear as far as Jimmy Neighbour. Just look at Hamilton tackling back on Neighbour as well. Forcing Neighbour into that error too. Chivers. Again, the ball played off first time, didn't come off for Spurs. Gilzean, and now to Beale. Perryman. Gilzean trying to play it back to Perryman, succeeding. Knowles with Neighbour outside him. Gilzean at the far side, Peters too. Mullery there looking to belt it. And a ricochet, in fact, off Martin Peters into the arms of John Dunn. And so Pat McMahon. Bruce Rioch. And a fairly aimless ball, I must say, there by Rioch. Beale keeping it in play. Turnbull, very positive indeed. They're getting before Chivers. McMahon, beautiful play there by McMahon. Good break here by Aston Villa. Hamilton going past Knowles. But not the second time, but Knowles forced to give away the corner. A good, swift and a sure-looking strike there by the Villa. McMahon and Hamilton. Hamilton with the corner. Curling it in low again, straight for Knowles by that near post. Bradley. Hamilton. Bradley. Gilzean should get ahead to that one. Into injury time at the end of this first half. Knowles. Only as far as Godfrey. And again, Villa keeping this pressure on the Spurs. Rioch. Challenged by Mullery, but finding Aitken. Peters this time to get it away, and again not very far, but Godfrey's reflex header going there for Jennings. Perryman, and now Peters. Knowles. Bradley, Godfrey. Referee Jim Finney getting his sign from the linesman that as far as they're concerned 45 minutes is up. But Aitken. And the whistle in fact goes for half-time. Well done for the Aston Villa. Here's Vic Crowe, the manager, leading the way for them. He must be mightily pleased with the way his side have shaped against Spurs in the first half. Alan Gilzean, who's had the odd chance for Spurs, but really it hasn't come off for them in the first half. And a lot for Spurs to do in the second half. Andy Lockhead, a constant threat, a willing worker. So the half-time score in the Football League Cup final here at Wembley is Aston Villa 0, Spurs 0, and we'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes. So Spurs then preparing to kick off for the start of the second half, being held and deservedly held by third division Aston Villa. In the final of a tournament that, of course, is used to its upsets. Two third division sides have already won this trophy here at Wembley. Queen's Park Rangers in 1967 and Swindon in 1969. So 0-0, Spurs now defending the goal to our left, and Hamilton for Aston Villa. Tyler turning almost effortlessly inside Gilzean there, but now Beale finding Alan Gilzean. Back to Philip Beale. Again, that Spurs clockwork movement is clogged up again as Villa go away with Hamilton, but Hamilton in turn losing it into touch, and a throw for Spurs by Cyril Knowles. A tournament that really has increased also in popularity year by year for the third successive year. The crowd here, meaning that more than 2 million people have seen the Football League Cup this season. Perryman now, Collins, and Beale. And in goes Bradley very quickly. And Knowles somehow keeping that ball in play and almost putting it there. In fact, putting it in the path of Lockhead, and now Hamilton. And Hamilton with a shot. Oh, just fractionally over that Spurs crossbar. There really wasn't more than a couple of inches to spare in that one. Made out of nothing, really, when Knowles lost it over on the touchline to Lockhead, and Hamilton really motored into that Spurs penalty area. It looked for one moment as though it might just dip underneath Pat Jennings' crossbar, but it didn't. And here is Jennings then with the goal kick for Spurs. Aitken winning it in the air and winning it well. Mallory. And Aitken again getting the better of Gilzean. Two Scots. Kinnear a long way back to Jennings. Joe Kinnear, who played the game of his life, in fact, when Spurs beat Chelsea in the '67 FA final. Now Peters. Spurs badly needing the class of Peters to stamp itself on this game for them. No signs of it yet, as McMahon takes it up again for third division Aston Villa. And Hamilton bursting through, and with a little luck would have been completely through. Kinnear then back to Jennings. Hamilton, who really has shown his strength and his acceleration twice already in this half. Chivers. Mullery trying to pounce on it. Rioch going in hard, and it must have gone off Rioch for a throw to Tottenham. Mullery with it. And Mullery having stealed at least half a dozen yards. I think Jim Finney might have settled for one or two, but half a dozen was too many, so Mullery's got to come back. Now Gilzean. Well, it might suit Spurs because it's given Gilzean possession. Mullery and Knowles going in there. Oh, they both missed it, both Aitken and Gilzean. So Mullery again with the throw. Perryman jinking and jerking about the place, Gilzean rolling on the floor. And so it's Kinnear. Down he goes from Rioch. So Tottenham's free kick. Quickly taken by Peters, and Chivers was nearly there in for it. Chivers still going in, and Dunn bravely getting a fist to it. The old 1-2 that have caught First Division sides out before, the quick free kick by Peters, Chivers fasting on the end of it, but he didn't quite catch out the Villa. Chivers with a long throw, Dunn waiting and watching it, and Gilzean also, but Aitken putting it behind. So a corner to Spurs. Aitken looks as though he got it in the side as he went for that one with Gilzean. Charlie Aitken, over 400 appearances for the Villa. He's not going to come off in a cup final for them, but Mallory, not a very good corner by him. Straight to Bruce Rioch. And a long clearance by Rioch, turned off beautifully there by Hamilton for Anderson. That's the sort of thing that Spurs have been trying to do and failing. But Anderson now for the Villa. Hamilton. Lockett is right up there. So too is Rioch. And so was McMahon on the far side, but Peter stopped it getting to him, and so it's Neighbour. Mullery. And Gilzean, at last in a bit of space. But not doing very much with it. Villa also almost getting themselves into trouble there as one man cannon into another. Chivers fighting back hard. They're playing the player and not the ball. And Villa's free kick. Fred Turnbull to take it. They're pushing there between Lockhead and Collins, and Kinnear getting a foot to it. So Villa's throw. If anything, Villa looking even more dangerous in the early minutes of the second half than they did in the first. Anderson. And a goal kick. The Villa crowd behind that goal, hopefully cheering for a corner. But I should think Jim Finney was a good 50 yards closer to that incident than they were. And he's given the goal kick to the Spurs. All come down the M1 from the Midlands. Pat Jennings with the kick. Turnbull again beating Chivers in the air. Turnbull's done a good job for the Villa. Here's Chivers again, though. Attacking him on the ground this time. Still in possession, Chivers. Gilsey, now Mallory! Will he hammer it? No! Again, that Villa defence closed in so quickly. But certainly the best-looking Spurs move for quite some time. And a corner for them. Both Chivers and Mallory were right in there at the death. Chivers moving so nimbly for a big man. Mallory with the corner. Collins right up on that Villa goal line. And Peters trying to get in and nod it powerfully downwards. And Dunn to pick up the ball for a goal kick to Aston Villa. Lockhead bobbing and weaving there. Anderson also waiting for it. Collins beating Lockhead in the air. Bruce Rioch. Challenged by Perryman, and Perryman obstructing him. Villa's free kick. Tyler to take it. And all the Villa big guns are up. Lockhead to turn it on. Spurs in trouble. Hamilton right there, waiting for each other, and the inquests that are going on in that Spurs defence. And quite rightly so. Peters was in the middle of it. Knowles was in the middle of it. Beale as well. And Kinnear to finally hack it away. Spurs so very nearly caught out there. And they had only themselves to blame. Here's the corner coming across. Peters this time, half getting it away. Godfrey doing very well indeed. Beale once more. Trying to coolly play himself out of trouble. Knowles, a long one away. That really was Spurs at their worst, and the understanding still isn't coming on. Mallory and Gilsey both leaving that one to each other. Perryman. Peters quite easily beaten there by Aitken, and now Villa setting it up again. Hamilton, and this time Rioch through. Stopped beautifully though by Beale. Superb defence by Beale. My goodness, and Perryman then putting it away. After the challenge on Pat Jennings that seems to have knocked him sideways. Even though the sky is overcast, Wembley looking at its best with this capacity crowd. Anderson then taking the throw. Hamilton, so lively, so menacing. Another throw to the Villa. Bruce Rioch to take the throw. Anderson. And now Hamilton. Good looking cross there by Hamilton. Lockhead at the far side. Jennings trying to fist it away. Collins put him under pressure, and Collins finally getting him out of trouble as well. Spurs really are up against it now. Throw to them on the far side. Knowles with it. Neighbour. Linesman flagging on the far side for a free kick to Tottenham. Chivers coming hard for that one and getting it and finding Gilsey. There goes Peters after it as well, but Tyler getting there first. Calmly back to Dunn. Swept up very well in that back four, Brian Tyler, this afternoon. Knowles. Now Chivers. Even the short passes, they don't seem to be able to play accurately enough, Spurs, at the moment. Mallory. Chivers. Gilsey. Mallory again going hard in on that one. Peters, he couldn't control it, but Rioch could. Anderson. Brought down by Kinnear. Villa this time trying to steal a few yards, and it's going to be Tyler to take the kick. almost getting it between Kinnear's legs, but Perryman was there this time. Calm assurance of that youngster. Oh, but a little too calm, because he's let Rioch through. Down goes Jennings. Oh, and in goes Lockhead, and Jennings grabbing that at the second goal. Having a war of words too with Kinnear. I think Kinnear thinking that Lockhead went in a too little vigorously on Jennings, and in fact it's a free kick for the Spurs. Superb save though by Jennings. Steve Perryman just a little too casual, which led up to it. Aitken beating Gilzean in the air. I can't recall a First Division match when Gilzean has so often been beaten in the air as he has by Aitken this afternoon. Collins winning that one. Still in play. Bradley to Godfrey. Turn inside by Lockhead. Philip Beale. Oh, and then Kinnear. But Spurs still under pressure with Villa in possession with Anderson. And was that out of play? My goodness! Finally put behind by Beale, but I think that must have been out of play before. Indeed it was, because Jennings coming to this side of the goal to take the goal kick. The linesman on the far side with his flag up. But again, this snaky running and snaky striking of Willie Anderson, with Lockhead and Rioch and Hamilton and McMahon all waiting. Chivers getting that one in the air, but the faithful Turnbull there again. My goodness, Dunn was taking no chances there. He wasn't prepared to take it back into the penalty area where he could use his hands. Tyler. McMahon, a really arresting run there by McMahon, and Kinnear, oh, very coolly indeed, back into the arms of Jennings, but what a great run by Pat McMahon. Gilzean between Godfrey's legs, but it seems whenever you beat one Villa player, there's always another one to cover up for him. Now Peters to Gilzean. And there's Turnbull going in, almost as though his life depended on it. Claiming, in fact, that the ball last came off Gilzean, but Jim Finney says no. Spurs throw. Perryman. Neighbour. Kinnear and Hamilton. Kinnear hitting it sideways there for Mullery. Beale. Chivers looking for it with his head. Gilzean, this must be a chance for Spurs as Neighbour goes in. Chivers, there it is, Martin Chivers. Spurs are ahead, and they really don't deserve to be. What a tragic blow for the Villa, and what a relief for Spurs, for them and for their supporters. Martin Chivers putting them into the lead after that rebound had come so invitingly for him, putting Spurs ahead now with 11 minutes to go. So Martin Chivers, his 29th goal of the season. Scoreline really that bears no resemblance to the way this game has gone, but now Spurs away again. Knowles, a flick outside for Neighbour, who did so much in the build-up last time. Gilzean, oh, a save, an instinctive save by Dunn. Well, if you ask John Dunn how he saved that, he'd never know. Somehow that cannoned off his legs, but Villa deserved a bit of luck. Villa's throw. Now Brian Godfrey Godfrey. This is where the true test of captaincy comes out. And here he goes, Brian Godfrey. McMahon to Hamilton. Godfrey again, good play by Villa. McMahon, stopped by Beale and good defence by him. Now there's some real challenge about the game as Mallory takes it up for Tottenham. To Jimmy Neighbour. Gilzine. And here's Kinnear. Peters begging for it on this side of the field. Neighbour trying to hammer it in and cannoning off Aitken. Perryman. Knowles. Perryman. Mallory. Chivers. Turned across there, Peters looking for it, Gilzine was behind him. Mallory. Mallory again for Gilzine. Oh, some wild kicking there again by Godfrey. Right under the eyes of the linesman too. Perryman going hard in on this one. And John Dunn for the Villa. Hamilton to McMahon. Now they are stopping and looking, and Spurs are attacking it much quicker as Chivers now. Good control by Chivers. And he's done it again! Martin Chivers! Oh, what a goal by Chivers! Oh, what a tremendous goal! All the control and the cheek and the finishing by Martin Chivers, 2-0. And there was a goal that had the lot. Chivers, who only a year ago the Spurs crowd couldn't get off his back. He couldn't recover from a bad knee injury, and they were onto him the whole time. His comeback has been one of the great stories of the season, Martin Chivers, to an England cap, and now 2 goals in a Wembley final. And they come from Tottenham. Godfrey. What a cruel place Wembley can be, and it has been this afternoon for the Villa. Free kick. Well, if you're going to strike killer blows, I suppose you want to strike them in the last 10 minutes. Spurs now 2 up, with something like 7 minutes to go. Well, and I think there's some relief in that Tottenham bench as well. Gilzine to flick it on, Mallory looking for it, but Rioch to put it back to Dunn. Tyler. And Hamilton, he couldn't keep it in, it went out. Billy Nicholson, third from the left as you look at it there, sitting bolt upright, showing none of his feelings. Inscrutable face of Billy Nick. Peters. For the last 5 minutes, Spurs have looked themselves, and it's been the only time in the match when they have. Tyler cutting that one out from Neighbour quite easily. Now Bradley. Perryman, oh, he put that straight for Rioch. And now can Rioch, oh, beautiful play by Rioch. Oh, bad luck, Rioch. That was a great run by the Villa player, completely outstripping Philip Beale, who's down injured. And Beale by no means is a slouch. Well, it's that sort of skill that makes Bruce Rioch worth the £100,000 that Villa paid for him from Luton Town. Philip Beale looks as though he's all right again, a real star in that Spurs defence. Beale has played superbly. Here's the corner for the Villa. Everybody up there, including Turnbull. McMahon turning it back there, Godfrey turning it in, and it's Chivers. And that's gone off a Villa player for a throw to Spurs. Aitken hopefully taking it, but that quite clearly came off a Villa player. Racing in after this one, and Bradley in trouble there for a moment, then getting it back to Dunn. Kinnear, Chivers. Nice deft touch again by Chivers. He's looking for his hat-trick as Chivers on, and now Peters to hammer it. Now Chivers, is this the hat-trick? No. Looking to get on the far side of Knowles. Here's Willie Anderson. Nice little cross there, but too hard for Andy Lockhead, who at that moment had made a run towards the near post. Two minutes now of injury time. Aitken finding time still for a word with Gilzean, and Gilzean back. Now they're getting into real action there, and it's Gilzean who nodded it on, but Tyler who gets it away for the Villa. Lockhead fastening on it, and the final whistle goes. Spurs have won the Football League Cup of 1971. 2 goals by the number 9 Martin Chivers, after they were under pressure for so very long from Aston Villa. Here's Billy Nicholson in the centre of that picture, manager of Victoria Spurs, the skipper Alan Mullery and the skipper Brian Godfrey. Spurs so long to find their form, and congratulations there from Eddie Bailey, for Martin Chivers, and from Billy Nicholson as well, Cecil Poynton. He could hardly have thought a year ago when he was the subject of so much barracking at White Hart Lane that it would have such a happy ending. What a shot there between Bill Nicholson, the man who had faith in Martin Chivers, the man who came back. So it'll be Alan Mullery then to get the Football League Cup from Her Royal Highness Princess Alexandra. A kiss for the cup, and there you are, White Hart Lane. 2 goals when all the worry lines were beginning to show on their faces. Here's Martin Peters and Cyril Knowles. And Wembley rising to Aston Villa. There's Sidney Wale, the Spurs chairman, having a word with Brian Godfrey, as you saw a moment ago. Bruce Rioch, Keith Bradley. Congratulations to the gallant losers, Aston Villa, and who would deny them that?